This is going to be a short video because it's just going to cover 20F. Oops.
Please return your laptop to the library.
Actually, I'm wrong. It's going to cover E. 20E. So we'll start with, well, it's on cumulative frequency graphs. And we'll start by talking about the percentile, which, as I've written up here, it's a score at which a certain percentage of the data will lie at or below. So if you're thinking about quartile 1, what percent of the data will lie below quartile 1? Well, that's going to be 25%. The median is at the halfway mark, so 50% of the data will lie at or below. So in other words, the median is also the 50th percentile. You could think of it like this. And then quartile 3 would be the 75th percentile. Now we'll just move right on into our first example, which I chose one a little differently than the one in the book. This does come from one of the homework examples, however, homework exercises. In this chart, we have the exam scores of a group of students. So notice that they've grouped the data 10 to 20, 20 to 30, and so on, and given the frequency of students. In order to make a cumulative frequency graph, we have to start by making a cumulative frequency column. So right here, I'm going to add a column, cumulative frequency. And I think we've already done these. So the first one is 2, and then you add 2 plus 5 and get 7. 7 plus 7, 14 plus 21 is 35. And that's going to be 71, 111, 831, 941, and 3 is 150. So that tells us that we have a total of 150 scores, or 150 students. Then we're going to put that into on a graph. And when we make our graph, I'll make it right here. So on the x-axis, you're going to have your score, x, and then on the y-axis, we're going to have the cumulative frequency, not the frequency. This will be our scores. They range from 10 to 100, so I'm going to count by tens. I could start at 10. And over on the left is going to be the cumulative frequency. That goes up to 150. So I'm going to count by, I'm going to count by tens, I guess. That's what I did here in my notes. Okay, 150 is way up there. Then it's just a matter of plotting the points. So on these, make sure you're plotting cumulative frequency over here on the left. Now in the 10 to 20, I'm going to just go to the midpoint here and go up to 2. That's not very far. 7, 14. It's best if you have graph paper because you'll get a more accurate answer and you'll be able to use this information more wisely as well. I mean, more accurately. 71 is a bit of a jump. 111 is up there. I just have to eyeball it. This one is up at almost to 140. 147, almost to 150, and then this one is 150. And then connect it with a smooth curve. The other thing that you can do on the left hand, or excuse me, actually on the right hand side, is you can figure out your percentiles. So we know that half, this is 150 total, so half of that, let's do the quartiles here. Let's do lower quartile, median, upper quartile. Actually, do I want to call them that? Yeah, that's right. So, I was making sure I was using the right word. Well, the halfway point, actually, I don't think that is actually the right name for it. These are just the percentiles. So, the median is, we have 150. The median's going to occur at the 75th one. That's going to be your 50 percentile. So at the 75th, right here, that's your 50 percentile. And then half of 75 is 37.5. So the 37.5, that data value. These aren't the actual lower quartile medians. They're like the number, item number. These are kind of like the item numbers. The 37.5th data piece will be the lower quartile. That's the 25th percentile. And then if I add 37.5 plus 75, I'll get the upper quartile. It's not technically the upper quartile, it's the number, the term number of the upper quartile. There's your 75th percentile. To actually get the values, you would go over and down. So somewhere like maybe 45 would actually be the lower quartile itself, would occur right here. Then there are some questions. Oh, here they are. They're actually already written up here. Find the median exam mark. Okay, so the median exam mark occurs on the 75th one, and then you would come over here to your graph. You would come down, and it's around 51 according to my graph. But my graph is just hand-drawn. So it's best to look at the table as well and make sure that we get a little more accuracy here. So I know so I'm doing the median. It's the 75th data. Okay, here's the 71st one. So the 75th one is going to occur somewhere between 60 and 70. And since it's on the low end, there's only 4 values into this, it's going to be closer to 60. So we could say 60, 61 maybe. So it's actually 61. You can see this thing is not drawn very accurately. Graph paper would have done it a lot more justice. How many students scored 65 marks or less? Okay, so that's the score here. Okay, so 65 would be halfway between, we're just going to assume it's halfway between the 60 and 70 interval. So we're going to simply take half of these, 20 of these, and it says 65 or less. So we're going to add up all the ones below. And that means we're actually, instead of actually adding all these, we know the sum is 71 right here, because 71 is the sum of all these. So you can do 71 plus 20 and quickly get the answer of 91. Now this is an approximation because we're assuming halfway in the middle here. Now, how many students scored at least 60? So these guys here scored at least 60, but less than 70. Oh, that's just 40. No, wait a minute. Oh, at least 60. Sorry, I need to think again. If you scored at least 60, that's everything from here up to here. So it's all of these, which is 71. That's at least 60, 71. And less than 70, so we also have to add up all of these, plus 40. So, you know what though, that's not right. Am I doing this right? Hold on. I don't think that's right. I'm not reading it right. How many students scored at least 60? Oh yeah. Why am I not? Sorry guys. I was doing it right the first time. But I just was getting a different answer. Back up. How many students scored at least 60? So if they did at least 60, that's these people here, but less than 70. I have 40, but in my notes I had 76. Now why did I have that? C. I don't know. Right now I'm looking at it and I'm thinking 40. You know what it might be? It might be that I typed this up separately, differently than what it is in the book. That's why. Okay, now it makes sense. The reason I have a different answer here in my notes is because in the notes it was at least 50. So I have this typed up differently, that's why there's a different answer. Anyway, let's just move on. If the pass mark was 45, so let's say right here, 45 would be, we're going to assume since 45 is in the middle of this interval, we're going to take half of these values, so about 10 of them. If the pass mark was 45, sorry for all the noise in the hall, I forgot to shut my door. How many students failed? So that means everybody 45 and below would have failed. That means 10 people in this category as well as all the people in this category. All the people, in these three categories, that's going to be 14 plus 10. Or 24. About. If the top 16% of the students were awarded credits, what is the credit mark? So I need to figure out what 16% of 150 is. So 16% of 150 is 24. So the top 24 students. And one way you could do that is you could just count down. Here's 12 of them. And then if you go down another 12, you're going to be somewhere about halfway in this category here. So about halfway in here would be about 75. So the high credit mark would have been a score of around 75. That concludes section E.